Alright, this video will show you how to change a PCV valve on a Toyota Prius. This is a 2007 model, but the same will exactly apply to a 2004 to 2009, and it may not be much dissimilar from other years of the same car. So the PCV valve is only one, right here. They're not much more or less than $10 around that price. It's positive crankcase ventilation valve. So yeah, so there are different tutorials where you have to take this whole wiper setup off. Our method doesn't do that. We're just going to attack it from straight down here, so this is going to be quite quick, quite painless. So let's go. So the first step is to remove these two 10mm bolts off the relay box right here. So get a 10mm one and go to work on those two. Okay, so we've just moved the relay box out of the way. That can just stay over here. And the next step is to remove the air filter assembly, which is all of this here. There's two 10mm bolts, one there, and you will also need a Phillips screwdriver to just loosen this one, don't remove it. So remove, loosen. Okay, once those bolts are removed and the Phillips head is loosened there, we drop down to the front and remove this connector. This is the connector that feeds into the mass airflow sensor right here. To do this, you push down on this tab while pulling the connector out, and that should loosen it, and then ultimately remove it from the socket right here. One more thing, you can remove this tab here by inserting a flathead into this section right here, and that will remove this connector from the wire, so we can free this up completely. Okay, so now we've removed that cable from this little housing here. The last thing to do is a hidden 10mm bolt down here. You just loosen this one, you don't remove it, and then we can pull the whole air filter assembly from the vehicle and put it aside. And before you remove that, don't forget to remove this pipe from the outlet right here. Okay, I've removed the air filter assembly from the car completely. You can double up a couple tasks while doing this. You can change the spark plugs, and you can also clean the mass airflow sensor. If you want to clean the MAF, you just undo those two Phillips screws right there, remove the MAF, and give that a clean with specialist MAF cleaner. So I will probably do that as well. And like I said, also do the spark plugs while you're in there. So the next step is to get that PCV and replace it. Okay, the next step is to remove 4 10mm bolts. That's this one here, this one here, this one under here, and this one here. You'll also need to remove the ignition coil wiring harnesses and also the fuel injector wire harnesses. These are your ignition coil harnesses. There's 4 there going into each spark plug. So just remove them out by pressing and pulling these tabs here. And also the fuel injector harnesses as well at the bottom. So that's these 4 right there. And these you just push in there, then you can pull it right. So 4 10mm bolts, those 2, that one and that one, and all 8 harnesses out of there. Okay, so I've pulled out all the connectors, all 8 of them, as previously mentioned, and also undone the 4 bolts, which means this whole piece can now start lifting out, as you can see. You will need to just loosen this clamp right here, just stick a flathead down here so it can pull away, and now you can lift this out and access the PCV, which is down there. Okay, let's just get a little better look at that. So it will just slide out from under there. There's enough clearance to pull it out. And down here is your PCV right there. You see that hexagonal little nut there? First thing you've got to do is pull the hose off, and then we can undo it with a 19mm standard wrench. So first get the hose off by pulling those clamps down there. Let's see if we can get a better view of that. There we go. So you can see those 2 clamps, just squeeze them, pull the hose off, and get a 19mm wrench on that PCV right there. The hardest thing about getting these off is getting the leverage. We have a 19mm wrench here, just on the end there. You can see I've pulled the hose off. So the best thing to do is just get another wrench on the end like this, on the box end with a hoop. Then you have double leverage, and with two of them you should be able to move that. It is easier than it's not as easy as it sounds, but you should be able to undo that with a quick 2-inch trick there if you don't have a long enough wrench to get that PCV valve off. Alright, we finally got it out. Took a bit of effort, a lot harder than I thought. You can see the threads there. Yeah, here's the old one. It's still shaking. There is no true way of testing it without specialist tools that it's bad, but it's been enough mileage, 50,000. Usually you replace these 30 to 50,000. This one's been in 50,000, so for the cost of $3 or $4, it's time for a new one. So put everything back in the reverse order and you are good to go. One thing to make sure you do before you put it back is just put a little bit of anti-seize on the threads here, so next time you get it out, it's not going to be stuck in there. So that's one thing to mention. You can get quite a big can of it for $7.50 from Walmart and places like that, so it's one thing I do recommend before reinstalling this.